Hey guys, Maven here, and you are somewhere in the ring.
The following podcast is scheduled for one recording with no time limit. Making their way down to somewhere in the ring, Andrew Sanford and Ryan Sprague.
Because I lived in Arizona very briefly. I don't remember it very much.
What?
But I can still, very briefly, a year. I was little. It was, my life went Pittsfield, Massachusetts, somewhere in Arizona, I don't know, Galveston, Texas, Metairie, Louisiana, then South Hadley, Massachusetts, and then Pittsfield until I got out of there entirely.
Are you a military brat and you never told me?
No, but my dad did movie theater stuff, which is I think why he had to move around. Like he helped open an IMAX in Texas, like an IMAX theater, one of the first ones in Texas anyway.
I never knew this.
So a lot of that stuff. Yeah, so moved around quite a bit growing up until we like settled in Pittsfield when I was like 8 or 9. But I can slightly speak to the heat in Arizona, but only slightly. And I will say one of my favorite jokes in the much underappreciated 4th season of Arrested Development is Michael Bluth, Jason Bateman being outside in Arizona and just simply going to open a car, and he grabs the handle and goes "Gah!" like and pulls his hand back because it burns. Like just, oh man! I also shaved my mustache, shaved down my mustache this morning, and I'm all over the place.
It's looking good, man.
Thank you. Good. I wasn't fishing. I'm getting right Weird Al in less than 2 weeks, so I got the shirts going. I got the mustache going. I'm trying to.
That's right. And we should we should mention too your open letter to Mr. Weird, Mr. Yankovic.
Yeah. I called him Mr. Yankovic in the article. I was like, let me be straightforward about it. But yeah,
I'll put a link to it in the show notes this week.
Thank you. Please do. Yeah, my kids love Weird Al. This will be their first concert, and I wanted to blow their minds. It'll be their first concert at Madison Square Garden, which is very exciting. And they love Captain Underpants, and he wrote a theme song for the Captain Underpants movie in 2018, and I want to try to get him to play it, and that's what the article's about. So like it, share it, tag him in it.
Do it all, guys.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'll be doing I'll do a marathon of tagging and sharing the day of as well. You never know, man.
You never know. We'll see. Yep.
I just put a tweet up on my personal Twitter account about Karrion Kross, and who is the one person that's engaged with the tweet? Karrion Kross.
Hey, let's go.
You just never know.
Okay.
You never know.
Hey, Karrion. Come on the show, Karrion. We love you here.
Watersworn. Come on, buddy.
Because this is a show about professional wrestling called Somewhere in the Ring. My name is Andrew Sanford. This is Ryan Sprague. And boy, we got ourselves a little review tonight. So both Raw and SmackDown filmed yesterday. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yes, which is why Raw filmed much earlier and I missed it entirely. Even though I could rewatch it on Netflix, it's always like, I was like, oh, wait, what is, now I can't. So anyway, they both filmed yesterday, and there was a bit of a spoiler already out there for SmackDown on Friday that is building up to Saturday night's main event, which we can maybe get into a little bit.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah. We are mainly here to talk Night of Champions, which just happened. And I, for the first time, am going to try this Waterloo Guy Fieri Flavortown seltzer that is the flavor of Huckleberry Cobbler.
Oh, my gosh. That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Very good. Well done, Guy. Well done. That's
well
tasty.
done.
It's basically just like a berry something or other, but I'm a fan.
You know what? For pure comfort and full disclosure, I had like a mental breakdown a couple years ago. I disappeared from like the face of the planet. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. I've been very open about this. I think it's very important, especially for men, to talk about these sorts of things.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Men have feelings, brother.
Talking feelings, brother.
Oh my God, such a
Let's
good clip.
just sit back and rap about it a little bit, brother.
Such
How
a
you
good
feeling?
But all this to say, man, during that rough patch in my life, one of my two comfort things I had, watching British Bake Off, which I love because it's a
Amazing.
very calming show. And the other one was Diners, Drive-Ins, Drive-Thrus, whatever it's called, with Guy Fieri.
Look, I have done such a 180 on Guy Fieri, like even past, because I used to make fun of him on my old podcast, Half White Son of a Black Man, because you make fun of what you don't understand.
Right.
And I did not understand Guy Fieri. I was not familiar with his game. Dude goes around having fun, having a great time with his sons, no less, and is just like, hey, great cooks. I want to give you a showcase to cook. Hey, diner that doesn't get any attention. Let's put you on national television. Let's lift each other up. You're gonna see me at Rage Against the Machine smoking a cigar and singing along to Killing in the Name of. Like, he rules, dude. Have you ever watched Guy's Grocery Games?
No.
It's awesome. It is so much fun. He gets these cooks together. They're in a grocery store, like, a fake grocery store, but still. And it's like a mix of supermarket sweep and a cooking competition. He tells them, like, you have to get these kinds of ingredients, and then you have to come back and cook something. And it's a blast. I honestly want to watch it right now. I'm going to go. Ryan, enjoy. Do the rest of the show yourself. Tell people
I got you.
Enjoy. I'm going to go watch Guys Groceries.
I understand.
It's that good. It's that good.
Dude, I love that guy. And the fact that he gets paid to, like, travel the world and eat it all. Hey, did you ever eat at his short-lived restaurant in Times Square?
I didn't, because I thought I was better than it when it came out. I thought I was like, I'm gonna eat donkey sauce. Nice try. I would kill for some donkey sauce right now. I was wrong, Guy. I was wrong, and I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
We are issuing a formal apology to Mr. Fieri.
Apology.
Yes, we
and look,
the two of us
single-handedly.
We could have kept that restaurant open, Andrew.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. It's true. Yeah. Look, it could have started. We were both working in the area at the time. We could have spread that love to other places, and we didn't, because we're cowards who thought we were better than a man who just wants to lift other people up. Oh, God, so disappointed in my former self. Just what a waste of time.
What a waste. You know what wasn't a waste of time? Ooh, look at that transition.
Do it.
Monday Night Raw, that we are recording this Tuesday, July 1st. So Raw happened last night as we're recording. And the one thing I wanted to bring up from that Raw is this. We have brand new tag team champions named JD McDonough and Finn Balor. So Judgment Day is back with the gold, baby. What do you think?
2 sets of titles, because they got those, and they also made Raquel Rodriguez or Roxanne Perez an official member.
Oh my God, dude, they are
so they control. Yeah, 2 of the 3 sets of tag titles. Dom still has the Intercontinental title. It's
just when we thought Judgment Day was dead.
No, and wanted it to be. Like, WWE has a great way of, like, putting me in, like, Stockholm syndrome, because it happens with so many different people where you get to a point where you're sick of them, and then you just gotta wait, and then somehow you get over that hump. Because here's the thing, I love what they're doing right now, even though it bums me out that Carlito's not around anymore. Yeah. But he was just kind of there. He wasn't even an afterthought in the team. That's not his fault. That's how they were booking him as a member of that team. 2, I am so happy that JD McDonough didn't die earlier this year. Like, you know what I mean? God. I'm so glad that he came back from such a horrific injury and is just crushing. Like, I think he deserves that. And there were rumors that Finn Balor was going to be gone post-WrestleMania. That might still be the case. We don't know. As far as I know, he hasn't signed a new contract, or if he did, they didn't talk about it. So that's cool stuff. I'm for it.
I think this is great for the 2 of them. I think it's going to only help the tag team division over at Raw, because, to be honest, it's been a little stale lately. But
I can't imagine why. I don't know what you mean. It's not like only one tag team has been wrestling for the most part for the last few weeks. Like, they've barely even wrestled the Creeds. Like, it's very Raw is a very strange place for tag teams.
Well,
not that SmackDown isn't, but SmackDown's weird for different reasons.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about with this title change. Now, we had this, like, historic sort of heel turn of the New Day that took place just a couple months ago at this
Sure.
point. And, and like this made national headlines, international headlines in the wrestling community, maybe
Sure.
a bit
Yeah,
beyond.
It's still
It was
headlines.
a
You can
big
still get
deal.
headlines in the wrestling community.
It was a big deal. And then, it just seems like they dropped the ball on that whole thing, and now they're done. So what do you think about this? The New Day sort of getting pushed back into the into the background.
If I had to guess, because this seemed like a lot of people thought it was going to be the end game at the time. And I think that now they've kind of given themselves a chance of like, oh, they swerved. Everybody thought New Day was going to break up, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And then they swerved and they were like, no, they're going to double down. Now they're bad guys and they're kicking Big E out of the group. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston still have to wrestle each other. Like that still has to happen at some point. They set it up too much. People were looking forward to it too much. And now I think they just kind of extended that. I wouldn't be surprised. They got 2 nights to fill come SummerSlam. 2 nights.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an Xavier Woods against Kofi Kingston match that weekend.
Oh my God. That's going to be amazing.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
It has to happen. And then Big E can come back and bring them together. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's still, or something. Who knows? But I think it is going to lead toward them wrestling each other.
I think you're right, because now we have Grayson Waller sort of like monkey wrenching his way between the New Day. He's like a super fan of them now. I don't know what's really going on with him, man.
It feels like kind of a ripoff of what's going on in AEW with the Hurt Business, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
It feels like Grayson Waller's playing the MJF role. And that is great. They are crushing that. I love that MJF showed up at Major League Wrestling this past weekend or the weekend before.
Yeah.
Like, there's cool stuff going on over there. But that is easily one of their most successful storylines. And you could argue that is kind of like Sami Zayn forcing himself. Whenever a white guy forces himself into a group of people of color, they're going to be Owen Hart and the Nation of Domination. Like, it's not like an old idea, but to have them doing that with Grayson Waller and the New Day while that's going on with MJF and the Hurt Business is funny, I guess. It's just like, I don't know if you knew this. There are two Stephen King adaptations of books that he wrote under the pseudonym Richard Bachman about a dystopian future where people have to compete for money, coming out this fall.
I saw the trailer today. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's also The Long Walk. There's Running Man coming out in November, and The Long Walk comes out in September.
Wow.
And they are essentially the same idea, that we as a society get to a point where if people in lower rungs want to succeed, they have to fight for it. And before anybody says it, no, it's not like Hunger Games, because both of these books came out 40 years ago. But
exactly.
Yeah, it's so... Like, it's just kind of sometimes when you're doing certain things, people get similar ideas, but I don't know.
Armageddon Deep Impact, baby.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Exactly. Honestly,
yeah.
You know,
it's just in the zeitgeist. Yep. Well, to speak of the Judgment Day too, Roxanne is now officially a member. So, congratulations. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. That'll be interesting.
I'm especially interested because now the plan is to have them be in a fatal 4-way tag match at Evolution 2. And I kind of wonder what the plan for Liv Morgan was going to be, because it seemed like originally she was going to be wrestling Nikki Bella, or is it Nikki or Brie? I've always feel terrible. I think it's Nikki. Yeah. I think she was a huge fan of hers, and the plan was to set up them wrestling each other at Evolution 2. So now I'm like, oh, what is this tag? I don't know. One thing I will say is I forgot that Evolution 2 happens the night after Saturday night's main event, and that essentially turns... It's a lot. That's a lot.
Too much wrestling, man. Too much.
You know what? We can always say that, but then like we have it, you know,
and then we
it's
watch
tough.
it.
Exactly.
Why am I even saying that?
To me, that means that they will have 2 hours on network television the night before the event to promote the hell out of it.
Good
and
point.
I do think that that's a good event to promote the night before on network television.
Yeah.
I also forgot that that same night, July 12th, AEW will be wrestling in Globe Life Field in Arlington, home to my beloved Texas Rangers, which they've been promoting. MJF threw out a pitch earlier this year. They've been promoting that hard. But yeah, there's a lot of wrestling that weekend, a whole lot.
I don't know why I even complained. Like, we should be so lucky to have this much wrestling going on and for it to be hotter than ever.
Yeah, but it's also, look, it's still, I'm not going to act like there's anything that I'm particular. Well, no, that's a lie. So one thing to say, I will just offer a teeny spoiler from SmackDown. So if you don't want to be spoiled for this upcoming Friday's SmackDown, scrub forward like 30 seconds or even a minute, just in case. We won't talk about this for very long. Scrub forward now. Drew McIntyre is back, and he has challenged Randy Orton, and they will be wrestling each other at Saturday night's main event.
Let's go.
That's gonna be a great match.
Wow.
That's gonna be a great match. So I am excited for that. Not at all excited for Gunther and Goldberg unless the finish that I wanted happens and Gunther goes out and wrecks Goldberg.
Well, I will bring that up after our Night of Champions review, but I feel like something I said last week might actually possibly come true. So when we get there, I'll tell you.
Okay. I know, because it seems like they teased something on Raw last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Night of Champions. Let's do it. Let's rock. I will start by saying this is probably the first event held in Saudi Arabia that I've watched. There were elements of it that were very jarring. The one thing I did want to address very quickly is there are people. This is gonna sound insane, but I am going to say that I stand with Ryback. Stay with me. So Dave Meltzer commented thinking that the fan who CM Punk apologized to ahead of this was a plant.
Right. Yep.
To get him to apologize in public. And then what's wild to me is that most of the criticism of this stuff has fallen on CM Punk, which is insane to me. It's not fallen on the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for potentially forcing him to apologize or forcing WWE to force him to apologize or WWE maybe coming up with that. If it was a plant, I get it. Like maybe there are elements of that are disingenuous, but what I loved about that apology is CM Punk did something that I think we as Americans would probably understand, is that I think that he had criticisms against the government, not the people. There are people in Saudi Arabia who are not the government, and the government is not the people. That is important in a lot of political discourse in general. Is to remember that even if people might vote for certain things or certain percentages of them might vote for certain things, that is not always indicative of what the country believes as a whole. So, and even rarely so, like a lot of things that like voting rights or like voting rights or going to war, like things that like are presented popular one way are actually not popular or are presented as not popular still end up getting adapted or pulled in. So it's there's a lot of nuance involved. And I think that CM Punk was speaking to that when he apologized. And then Ryback of all people came to his defense, and those two do not like each other.
No.
At all. And even he was like, this is a man who's doing something that he loves and is playing the game to keep doing it in other places. And I think that's...
And, to sort of also come to Punk's defense, he made it very clear when he came back to WWE that he wasn't there to make friends. He was there to make money. And can you imagine the paycheck that came with Punk finally going to Saudi Arabia? He will have enough money now, dude, for the rest of his life, his kids' life, his grandkids' lives.
Oh, man, I'm just going to have to stop you real quick. So allegedly, there were no financial incentives for anybody to go to Saudi Arabia this year.
I understand that.
It is at the point where it is baked into their contracts.
Okay. Does that go for all wrestlers?
I would assume so.
Okay.
I would assume very early on, probably when they were talking to him or even renewing the contract, that it was made clear, like, you got to go at some point. I know he didn't go last year, but there was also talk that they were talking to him about extending his contract
Mhm.
to include like taking a more managerial role or things of that nature going for like whenever he's done wrestling. Like they want him locked down forever.
Okay.
And I'm sure in those discussions they were like, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta be a team player. I could be wrong.
Because I always wondered that, man. Like, is Cena getting paid the same as? I mean, I know it's a sliding scale according to a contract they originally signed. So I guess what I'm asking is, like, do they have a fixed rate once they sign the contract? It's like you're gonna make $6 million this year or for your contract. That means you have to go wherever we tell you to go. You have to be a part of it. I don't know how that works.
I believe that is part of it. There are certain incentives or bonuses that are involved. I'm sure things shift and change over time. I remember reading in Mick Foley's book, 20 years ago, that they would get pay bumps if they had a title on their waist. Things like that. You know, so I'm sure there's stuff like that. And I'm sure there are certain celebrities, like certain stars, certain wrestlers that have different deals. Also where's Logan Paul? Very telling that he was not in the Saudi Arabia show.
Interesting.
Neither was Jey Uso, to be fair. Really?
He might be injured. I thought I heard whispers about that.
I would buy that.
Yeah.
But so I don't think that's the case anymore, but I also wouldn't be super surprised if there was at least some extra. I don't know.
Yeah. Either way,
seems like most people do not get a bump.
Okay. Yeah, you're right though. Either way, like I think he did the right thing. I think it's a very good clear message to send that, you know, the people who are paying to come here, these are kids. I mean, we even saw that video that came out where it looked like Punk had pushed a little kid away when he went up to hug him. Like that got some bad press right before all of this happened. It was taken out of context. It was totally.
And again, I fault that kid's parents. He should not be allowed to just walk up to somebody like that. Like 100%. Come on, guys. Yep. What are we doing here?
He was clearly
use your kids to get attention.
Thank you, Andrew. Because Randy Orton was there with him. They were clearly on their way to go do something, and this wasn't the time or place for this kid to be doing that. So
no, not at
all. I
am
100% with you on that. The kid was at fault, and
and I said that here first.
But anyways, okay. So all the CM Punk controversy aside, let's get to our first match that took place. And interesting that this opened the show. I'm actually kind of happy it did. I thought it was a great way to start the show. We had
I was until how they ended the show. Just a little tease about where we're going.
Okay.
But because I think this would have been a good end. That would have more signified what the event was like, because you know what was key to this event? Good wrestling. This was not big flash stuff. This was not big story bump stuff. A lot of this was just really good wrestling, and this is how they kicked it off.
Yep.
Look at those velvet pants.
Oh my
God.
Those
velvet pants on my man.
So Cody hot Rhodes. In those things. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, King of the Ring final. Yeah, what a match, dude. What a match.
I miss King of the Ring having its own pay-per-view, even though I understand that why it doesn't. It's so funny to me, though, that they're just like, oh, we're going to give matches their own pay-per-views, but we're not going to give this tournament its own pay-per-view.
I don't get it. Why?
Yeah,
why couldn't they have just called this King and Queen of the Ring? Why did it have to be called Night of Champions? I don't
understand.
Because we didn't have all champions competing. That's the point of Night of Champions. It's all the current champions defending their titles.
And but I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say, despite the strides that they have made, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was like, you are not doing something called the Queen of the Ring tournament when you're here. Or you're not calling the event Queen of the Ring when you get here.
Okay, that is.
And look, if I'm wrong, great. But that's anyway, incredible match.
Yep,
incredible
awesome match. I would say both of them did some pretty heelish moves. We will get to Randy Orton in a moment, but even Cody, he noticed that Randy looked like he may have perhaps legitimately injured his back. Maybe he was just selling it, but Cody started going for the back and doing some pretty heelish stuff, in my opinion, man.
Absolutely. No, what was fun is it was very much a like, ooh, these guys have to push themselves to the edge so much. They're so kind of evenly matched now that they have to try to get that little extra edge any way they can. And that eventually undoes one of them. That being said, I'm going to just say something right now. And I can't believe I'm saying this. And a younger me would have had a lot of questions. Not everything has to be turned into an RKO. I love the RKO. I love whenever it comes out of nowhere. There is a moment where Cody Rhodes goes to do the Cody cutter off the ropes and has to turn his body in such a way that he would not be turning it if he's trying to do the Cody cutter so he can receive an RKO. And it's just, and then they had to show it again. I'm like, don't show me the replay. I can tell. He has to turn his face fully towards Randy Orton. He's not doing that if he's doing a Cody cutter. Mild criticism, but I was like, guys, have him do something else. I love the RKO, but for the love of God.
There were a lot of RKO attempts in this match.
I'm okay
too many
with
to even count.
I'm okay with attempts. I'm okay with him hitting the RKO a bunch. And I love a surprise RKO. Nothing to me will ever top. I want to say it's like WrestleMania 22 or 23, but Undertaker gets him up for a choke slam, and as he's coming down, he turns it into an RKO. It's just like, it's incredible. You'll never top that. There is, of course, the Evan Bourne doing the 450 or no, the shooting star press off the turnbuckle into an RKO. Again, makes sense.
Yeah.
But for someone to completely change how they're doing a move, it was just kind of silly. But I watched this with my kids. I watched 3 of these matches with my kids, and it was a lot of fun for them to get to see it, especially because they love Cody Rhodes.
I was just going to ask who they were rooting for. Makes sense.
Yeah. They had said Randy Orton at first because I said I was cheering for Randy Orton. Even though I knew damn well that he didn't even really need to win this match. But I wasn't like thrilled that he lost either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Didn't you have him winning? Didn't you have Randy winning?
Yeah, I said that's what I wanted, but I understood that it was more likely that Cody Rhodes was gonna, like, it was this idea that I was like, oh, since Cody winning is the predictable thing, maybe they'll throw a swerve at us, and they didn't, and that's like fine. I just like. I was not excited necessarily about Cena Rhodes 1, aside from the fact that Cena had the heel turn. I like that, of course, was exciting leading into it, but Cena versus Rhodes is not exciting to me. Cody Rhodes is not John Cena. He's not the next generation's John Cena. Like, it's just a different kind of beast. So I don't think Cody Rhodes needs to take the title from him. And who knows? Maybe he won't. Maybe he still won't come SummerSlam. When does Peacemaker season 2 come out? But anyway, I don't, that being said, like, I don't know who else you have. I think I talked about last time, like, oh, have Trick Williams beat him or have something else happen. Because I kind of thought Cena might walk out of this event without the belt. But he did. And we'll talk about that later. And it's just not super exciting to me to have now a month and a half of build up to a match we already saw that I don't think is going to be much better than it was at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
At least now we won't be waiting for The Rock.
That's true.
You know what I mean? As long as The Rock stays out of this, I'm fine. It also, Cena did have a moment where it seems like he's starting to, no, because I'm sick of the little, C's not that bad. He didn't hit him with the belt. Like, I'm sick of those little teases. Like, we know he's got, I don't know.
We'll get there. Let's get to the end of this match. Randy Orton did expose the what do you call it? The turnbuckle to try to do a heelish move on Cody.
That's right.
But Cody turned it around on him and ended up getting him. He hit him with the crossroads and eventually won the match. And they had
he got a chair too. I loved that.
My God, he did some misdirection.
He got the folding chair so he could distract the ref and get the turnbuckle, which I thought was pretty great.
That was awesome.
Oh, hey, you know what? SummerSlam is only a month away, actually. It is August 2nd and August 3rd. And Peacemaker Season 2 starts August 21st. So I do not know. Cena might end up beating Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, so he can still have that belt when they're doing promos for Season 2. Yep.
That makes sense.
We'll see.
That makes sense. We'll see.
We'll see how Cardi B is involved. I'm hyped. I think she's going to be a super fun host.
I think so too. She's so excited. Like you can tell by her social media. Like I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cody Rhodes is our king of the ring. As he was giving a speech at the end, they showed Randy Orton, who was looking none too happy, and I think we're starting to tease a actual heel turn of Randy Orton,
which
not
was
surprising.
Nope, and which was addressed on that SmackDown taping.
Okay.
Yep, so for people looking forward to that SmackDown, it is addressed.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I loved the whole like Orton had to try to cheat and it was his undoing. I kind of hope he doesn't do a heel turn because he's just so good as a baby face.
I know. Yeah.
But I could see it. I want him and Rhodes to be back like teaming together. Like that's even if they're both heels. Like I love them as a team. I love the kind of like it's almost like the white bloodline. They're not cousins, but like there is elements of it to that. But we'll see what happens.
The white bloodline, the white blood cells. I don't know.
Yeah. There we go. There you go. Yeah.
Well, let's move to our
what's your grade? What's your grade?
Oh, my grade? We're doing grades? Okay.
I guess so.
I'm going to go
we
with...
usually do.
We do. You're right. We haven't done one of these recap reviews in a while. I'm going to go with a B+ on this one. I thought it was a great way to open the show. Really good match. I did like the back and forth, and I like the suspense at the end of, is Randy going to come back in the ring and attack Cody? And it didn't happen.
I thought for a hot second, because Charles Robinson, the marathon man himself, runs up to Orton on his way out. Yeah, and it's telling him something,
calming him down. I don't know, something was going on.
And more often than not, when that happens, it's the ref going, "Hey, they want you to get back in here and do X, Y, and Z."
But I liked how they never cut to Randy though. They kept it on Cody because you couldn't see Randy behind him, and I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna sneak up."
I thought so too. Yeah. It
didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I don't know. I don't know. So B+ for me. How about you?
A-. It would be an A were it not for that Cody cutter into an RKO. That really bothered me.
Okay. Oh, really, you know what? I'm bumping mine down, actually. I'm bumping mine down. Because when Cody was giving his speech, he literally said, I know that a lot of you, that these are beloved characters for you. And I'm like, did you really just say beloved characters?
Here's the thing, though. I will say that struck me as odd, too. But then he said Jey Uso, and I was like, okay, to be fair, that is not his real name.
Yeah, okay.
He is playing a character. Like, his name is not Jey Uso.
Right.
But I get it. That's fair. But I had the same kind. I was like, weird.
I did not like that.
Yeah,
B-.
We are past that B-. We are well past the days of Isaac Yankem DDS, but it's still, they're still characters, and they are welcome because this is the USA Network. No, not anymore. Oh wait, see, never mind. Now I'm against it.
Okay. That's fair, my man. All right, let's move to our second match of the night. We had a Riyadh street fight. I can't believe I'm saying that. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Wow. Hey, what's going on, guys? Ryan Sprague here from Somewhere in the Ring, and Andrew and I just wrapped an awesome episode of the podcast. We can't wait to share it with you soon, but before we do that, we need your help. We need your ratings and reviews, specifically on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, the two largest platforms in the world to get podcasts. Now, we are a small independent podcast, and we are going up against some pretty big hitters in the wrestling world. So in order to get featured, in order for us to find new listeners and gain visibility, we need your help. and that starts with a rating and a review over on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. It takes just a couple moments, but it means the world of difference to us. So, from Andrew and I, thank you so much for your unwavering support. We can't wait to keep doing the show, and we hope you will consider a rating and review for us somewhere in the ring. I loved it.
It was a great match.
Okay. So you could tell in this image, if you're watching this on YouTube, Raquel's outfit is actually like a very dark blue. However, when I watched this on TV, they looked so similar that there were times that I couldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know who was who in this.
That was a real, like, I understand they probably both had to get their own gear made. Rhea looked great. I liked Raquel Rodriguez's for the most part, but there were just some where the seams seemed kind of like puffy, like it looked like kind of I don't know. It's a minimal, very minimal, because I thought Rhea's looks so clean.
Yeah.
And I loved the jack-o'-lantern on one of the legs. She just looks incredible always.
She looks like she's lost quite a bit of weight or mass.
I was noticing that too. It was like muscle, like it seems like. Yeah,
she's
like, and I
toned up or tightened up. I don't know what the term is.
Yeah. But an incredible match that did exactly what it needed to do, which was make it clear that Raquel Rodriguez could exist as a singles competitor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't say like I didn't think that was going to be the case, but like Rhea's incredible and she makes everybody she wrestles with incredible. And if she is not wrestling for the world title like she should be, not even like I would be fine. Like give me Rhea against Gunther. Like I don't care at this point. Like she can wrestle anyone. So I was glad she's at least being used to put over somebody in a way that felt convincing and felt like it made sense. And as again, to note how far the Saudi government has come in accepting that women are people, they got to be very much in their characters, which has not always been the case. So I liked it. I thought it was a great match. I thought they beat the hell out of each other.
Oh, dude, kendo stick.
I see that one though. I was a little bit like she's tied up in the ropes and she's getting whacked a bunch. And I was like, okay, it's probably not too bad because they're not hitting exposed skin. Like to me, a kendo stick is always the worst when it's like bare skin, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But it was still, really brutal.
Well, rumor is that Rhea did bruise some ribs from those kendo stick blows. So I
bet. Okay, never mind then. Never mind.
It did hurt
me, man.
But then she turned it around, dude, on Raquel, and she took her belt off and started just whipping Raquel with that thing. So I'm sure both of them were hurting after this. I think Ripley went through a table at one point.
Well, they laid it out over the ropes.
Oh, sorry.
And then I think she flung. The announce table. That's right.
Yeah, but let's get to that one you're bringing up.
Yeah,
that was
she
the
did
biggest
her
spot of the match.
Whoo! Right off that table. Looked great. Looked like it hurt like hell.
That was scary. They balanced the table on the ropes, and you could see even the ref was holding the table steady for them. That ref was a pro, man. Like he presumably was like in charge of that whole spot. Like without him, that could have gone horribly wrong. And Ripley hit her move, the Riptide, off at the table, and ended the match. Ended up winning. So it was awesome.
Yeah. This one would get an A for me. There was no Cody Cutter nonsense in there. I just thought it was a great match, great wrestling match, great storytelling. Like,
Roxanne did interfere at one point. We should mention that. So that happened.
But it's again, I'm excited to see more from Raquel Rodriguez going forward. Obviously, and this was one of the first times. And they need people like her too in women's wrestling who are big and who can move. And I just thought she was phenomenal. So I'm excited to see whatever they do with her next, even if she ends up losing the women's titles at Evolution.
Agreed. I think this match truly made her whatever's going to happen with moving forward. So.
Yeah, like give her like a program with like Lyra Valkyria or something like that. Ooh. Like that's what I want. Like I like it. Put her in with somebody who's like really, really technical and maybe even a little bit smaller. Like that'll be great. Great.
I love it, my man. Well, let's move to our next match with one of the guys who just recently started engaging with us on Twitter, and that is Karrion Kross.
All right, yeah.
For Sami Zayn.
This is the other one I watched with my boys. Again, just like a fun match, not like super exciting.
Yeah.
But just two really good wrestlers wrestling.
Yep. Sometimes that's all you need. And you know, it was so good to see Karrion Kross get the love I think he deserves from the Saudi crowd. They love him over there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Love him. And they love Sami too. And I mean, you know, and Sami came out again with his supporting Palestine gear, which was awesome. So
and wearing his I'm not gonna say it because I don't know the correct name.
I do not,
but
either.
He was wearing a head covering. I'm just going to call it that, the headpiece, because I don't know. I don't want to butcher the incorrect name, but it was just awesome. And it's like Orton had said something before they wrestled in the King of the Ring final about how he sees Sami Zayn as a world heavyweight champion, as the WWE champion, not just a world heavyweight champion, but I think he said world heavyweight champion. Either way. And Sami Zayn has talked about how he didn't think that would have been possible before the Triple H era. So I love seeing the love that this guy gets. I love seeing him in the ring. And this was, again, just a great match and really key. Like the only snag for it that would make me leave it at like a B+ is this is something where I would have liked to see some more story progression. And it just seemed like, okay, they wrestled and then that's it. And then they're done. Maybe they'll wrestle again, but it kind of like it kills Karrion Kross's momentum a little bit.
Agreed. I really thought he was going to win this match.
Yeah, or like I had said, I was like, oh, maybe he'll lose and get turned into a face. You know, that could still happen, I guess. But I'll be interested to. I hope it's not just like, all right, here you get like one really good match, so that maybe you can sell yourself to AEW when your contract.
Get some leverage, baby. I agree with you. It was just a good wrestling match, and it you know, wherever these two go next, it's only good things. So awesome match. Sami Zayn came out on top, won the match. Shall we move to our next one?
Yeah, wait, what's your rating for this one?
Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting, buddy. I'm sorry.
I'm a B+. Yeah, like I said.
That sounds about right. I'm gonna go B+ as well. Yeah.
There we go.
For sure.
Okay. JC Mateo. I'm not gonna forget his name anymore. JC Mateo.
Not corn on the cob or whatever.
Well, that was his name. His name was Frank. Wasn't it just Frank? Oh boy. Or Fred Cobb. Either way, we had Solo Sikoa against Jacob Fatu for the United States title, and we were introduced to yet another member of the Anoa'i family. I think this guy, let me double check, actually. Hikuleo, I believe, is what he usually...
is the brother of the Tonga Loa,
right,
and Tama
so
Tonga.
Oh, man. I'm going to do my best here. His real name is Taula Kaloa Matangi.
Yep.
I think I got that correctly.
Sounds right to me.
And he is 2 years younger than I am, which makes me want to throw up. But
don't you dare. Because I know how much older I am than you. So stop.
He is the brother. His uncle is Haku. He is Tama Tonga's brother. Okay. And he is Tongaloa's cousin. Because Tama Tonga and Tongaloa are cousins. And I am not even going to try to pronounce Tongaloa's real name. Because it looks beautiful. It's something I would butcher entirely. Anyway, we were introduced to yet another bloodline member of the new bloodline because we got to see Jacob Fatu lose to Solo Sikoa.
This was a surprise. I'm not going to lie.
I agree.
Yeah. There was a title change at this event, and it was this one. U.S.
Yep.
Championship. Jacob Fatu is no longer our U.S. champ. Solo Sikoa is back in the driver's seat with an entire new bloodline. I don't know. I don't know where this is heading. A lot of people are sick. They're calling it the bloodline, the Timu bloodline or whatever. I'm gonna give these guys a chance. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Because here's the thing. Tonga came back this night, or Tongaloa came back this night? Loa did, and he's been gone since Survivor Series.
Correct.
Tonga's still injured, I believe.
Correct.
So they aren't even at full strength yet.
Right.
My thing is, I need to start seeing stables go against other stables.
Yes.
If they are setting these guys up to, like, I don't know, like fight the Wyatt Six or something, cool.
Yeah.
Like, but right now I'm just kind of like, there are just all these different stables. I guess the OG bloodline isn't really a thing anymore. You've got whatever Seth Rollins is calling his thing. You've got whatever Chad Gable and the Creed brothers and those guys are calling their thing. Then again, you have the Wyatt Six. And then, I feel like there's already too many. Like, that's so many stables. But that being said, like Hikuleo, I believe. Hikuleo.
Yep.
That dude's huge. He looks great. And he beat the hell out of Jacob Fatu.
Oh, he's scary, man. Apparently, he like terrorized over in Japan.
Cool.
So I'm really looking forward to what he does.
Can't wait. There's also something very intimidating to me about a beard with no mustache. Like, to be able to confidently pull that off, I'm like, oh man, what else
in the year 2025?
Oh my god, like he looks awesome. Well, yeah, he's got a great look. Like, I think he wrestled a dark match at like this, not the SmackDown prior to this, but the one prior to that. So like he was already kind of like around. But yeah, I'm on board. Jeff Cobb, that's what it was. I'm on board for this. And I thought it was a great match. Yeah. It was like the interferences starting were fun. Yeah. And it made it like, you know, I could almost see like it would be fun to see Jacob Fatu having to team up with Roman Reigns, or like him having to go back to that other bloodline. Like you know, something along those lines. Like there's still lots of fun to be had, and it's also undeniable the kind of chemistry these family members have. Like they should have chemistry.
Yeah.
But it's like I take advantage, and if they're all good, I mean, aside from Jeff Cobb is not an actual member of their family, I believe. But yeah, and I love. Here's the thing: 2, maybe even 3 months ago, I would have been like, Solo, I think we're done. Like, I think they don't know what they're doing with him, and he might have to just try something else. And then the comedy angles started.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very good at that. Like Liv Morgan, he has a very expressive face, which is great for pro wrestling. And I'm just kind of on board for it.
I hope they run with it. I hope they stick with it.
Yeah. I'm going to have to. And I think them giving him the title is showing that they probably see that as well. And they see that, like, you know, hell, Jacob Fatu can go up against Gunther. Like, Jacob Fatu is incredible, deserves all of the things. And the one aspect about this that I was happy about is that the U.S. Championship now feels like a stopgap for him. It seems like just like something on the way to him being even bigger. So
bigger and better things. I agree. Fatu is destined for huge things in this
huge. He's
sure.
enormous. He's like he's so good at every aspect of the business.
Yep.
So
agree.
Yeah, can't wait.
I'm going with an A. I thought this was fantastic.
I would also go with an A. Go with an A. I had a blast. Just it has so much fun.
All right. We're moving on to our second women's match of the event. And that was Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill versus Asuka. And I'll say this. The Storm outfit, incredible.
Looks rad. She looks great. Why not? Why not? You know
Why
what I mean?
not? Right? She had the
Why not?
contact lenses and everything.
Yep.
Awesome. I will say this: the crowd was dead for this match.
Dead.
Dead.
Deader than dead.
Deader than dead. Like, again, women's matches are unfortunately a quote unquote newer thing with these events over in Saudi Arabia. But I don't know, man. It was just like it was rough. It was rough. I felt
It
so
was
bad
rough.
for both of them during this.
Yeah, I did too, even though I don't I get what they see in Cargill, and I thought she was better in this match than I've seen her. I just don't I'm not excited about like her getting a title shot out of this. I don't. I would almost wait. Like I would have rather they wait to give her a title. Like wait a little bit longer, have her win the Women's Royal Rumble next year, and go from there. So like there's that aspect of things. She bungled the pin so bad. She bungled the pin so poorly. And that's like the one thing. That's the one thing you do, Doug. Like that's the main thing when you do the whole like lean back and stuff. And it looks great when she does it. And I'm like, this is your big moment. That's the one thing you need to nail.
That's what everyone's gonna remember.
Yeah, but it's just like it was just kind of a bummer. I also like it's no surprised that I love Asuka, like, and I thought like, but also like the Queen of the Ring doesn't necessarily help her. Like she doesn't need it. In the same way that Randy Orton doesn't need it. But I just was not thrilled by this match, and the finish being kind of bungled. Also, I was like, okay, I think she's going to be a great Queen of the Ring. Though, like, I think that they have an opportunity. She already carries herself in kind of a regal manner. Like, it's just kind of why not lean into what works? But yeah, I wish the match was better.
Yep. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Like, you have one of the greatest women's wrestlers in history, Asuka, going up against someone who is still evolving, still learning. And unfortunately, because Jade was put on such a visible stage to begin with, all of her weaknesses are going to come through when she starts wrestling singles matches. And we are unfortunately seeing that. But I do think she's getting better. I'm rooting for her. I really, really am. It was quite emotional to see her win this. I thought it was pretty cool. But at the end of the day, wasn't that good of a match. We'll see. We'll see what she does.
And also, again, maybe I'm wrong, but she's filming a movie this summer. So either she's not going to be around, she's not going to be around for the build up to SummerSlam, or it's already kind of a foregone conclusion that she's going to lose. So it's like, okay, like what's the point? So I don't know. We'll see. It was still a B+ for me. I wish it was better. It was still a good match. I think it's one of the best matches she's wrestled. And Asuka's so good. So it's like a B+, but I was just kind of like, yeah. And it gets a B+ because the Storm outfit was rad. So it gets a B+ instead of a B. Also, like she was Storm and Asuka was basically dressed like Harley Quinn. Like it was pretty fun.
Little Marvel versus DC. I love it. I love it. Yeah, for that alone, I'm gonna give it a B+ as well.
There we go. Heck yeah.
And we've made it, my man, to our main event.
Let's do it.
Wow. Let me just run through this quick, if you don't mind. I'll barrel.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I know
go ahead.
We're getting on the hour.
Cutting it close. Yeah.
John Cena versus CM Punk for the Undisputed Championship. Longtime rivals. Love when these two go up against each other. The build was pretty fun on the way to this match. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty fun. They brought in a lot of their classic moves against one another. Some flashbacks back to some of their most famous matches that they have had in the past. A ton of kickouts, which were super, super suspenseful and like had me holding my breath. So kudos on that. And then it got to the point, this is where the chaos started to come in. Cena accidentally knocked the ref out of the ring, and Punk pinned Cena for a 3 count, but there was no ref there. And then all hell broke loose.
Yeah, this is the other match I watched with my kids. At one point, one of my sons said, "This is completely too many wrestlers." By the time people started interfering towards the end.
Father, this is simply too many wrestlers.
Really good.
That's how he said it, right?
Yeah, more or less. And here's the thing. I think, for the most part, both of these gentlemen have wrestled younger gentlemen this year, right? Aside from like maybe a Randy Orton, or an R-Truth, of course, but John Cena. But those guys are both in phenomenal shape.
Yeah,
John Cena, 48 years old. CM Punk, 46. Or no, Cena's 47. He turns 48. Or no, he just turned 48, and then Punk turns 47 in October. Regardless, there were moments earlier on in this match where I was like, these are two older gentlemen wrestling against each other. They seemed gassed real quick. There's also jet lag, I'm sure. There's also all these other things. They seemed gassed. Aside from that, I thought it was a very good match. A little spot heavy, but still a good match. I thought they had a fun time. And then we had all the interferences in the world with Seth Rollins and his group coming out. And I'm just going to say it. And I don't know if they have spoken to this at all. Maybe there's an excuse I'm not thinking of. I don't know. But to my knowledge, if someone has the Money in the Bank contract, they can cash it in whenever. And the champion has to. Oh, this is perfect. My wife just got home, so she can go get the kids, so I won't have to rush too much.
Hello.
Ryan says hello. She did one of these. She exists. I swear to God, they can do it whenever. They can cash it in, and the champion has to defend their belt right then and there. That's the whole point.
Okay. Yep.
But for some reason, Seth Rollins comes out. This is a match where these two have beaten the hell out of each other. Both of them. Mm-hmm. And they even kind of team up at one point because Cena was not happy that this interference was going on. The Braun Breaker and the Braun Bronson of it all was throwing them off.
Yeah.
And then he wins, and then that's it. And then he's walking up the aisle with his belt, and Rollins is just kind of looking at him. Cash it in. Why would you not cash it in? Why have him interfere? What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
It was messy. Now, Rollins would go on last night on Monday Night Raw to say, I never intended to cash in.
Boo. Yeah. Dumb.
I think it was a cop out. I think there was. I don't know, man. You're right. I understand what you're saying.
I feel like they didn't realize what it looked like until they were watching it happen. I don't think they realized, like, we probably should have, like, he should probably, if he's out here, he should probably cash in. Just have Braun Bronson come out.
Yeah.
Have Rollins not come out at all.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. There was really no point of having Rollins come out if indeed the point was to not actually cash in. But then why would this faction come out at all? It just did not make sense to me. Unless like Rollins thought by coming out it would I don't know, maybe he thought Punk was actually going to win this and he could cash in on Punk at the time. I don't know what they were planning, but I will just say this: it was chaos. Penta and Sami Zayn came out.
That's right. Penta and Sami Zayn came out. Yep.
I did not care for that at all. I
really?
That was unnecessary. I thought it was overkill.
And so you and Isaiah are on the same page.
Yes, thank you, Isaiah. Because here's my thing. Someone needs to tell Penta, I know he's still new to WWE, but if you're coming in to save somebody, you do not come out and do your fun little walk, start doing the sign with the people in the crowd. You run down and you help. You don't take this moment to go into business for yourself. It makes no sense. I hate when wrestlers do that. I hate it. But
it brought them to him. He came out and he's taunting.
Fine,
look,
fine. It just really pissed me off. And I am a huge Penta fan. But I'm like, dude, get down there and do what you're supposed to be doing right now. Sorry. I can't
No,
believe
you're
that's the
good.
thing I'm like criticizing.
I am also
about
a
this
little
chaos.
surprised. But yeah, I think I kind of forgot that they even came out. But that explains again completely too many wrestlers. So
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it was messy, I think is a good word. Now, like last night on Raw, Punk, it seems like they're setting up him and Gunter, right?
Possibly. Yeah. However, here's where, remember I was saying I think that at main event that there is a possibility that Goldberg could win that championship from Gunther.
Right.
Rollins did come out last night and say to Gunther, "Hey man, I was never intending to cash in for that undisputed, but I got my eye on you." So I honestly think there's a chance that we could still see that happen. My prediction about all that when it comes to Rollins and Gunther.
And see, but that's when I start to, well, I'm just like, okay, what heels do they have to challenge for the Universal title? What do they have?
Question.
You know what I mean? I feel like right now they have to build Rollins to a point where people, and this is always the hard part, where people outside of the company know who he is. And maybe they do. I feel like Rollins is more of a wrestling fan's wrestler.
Yep.
He's really popular if you watch. I don't know if that popularity extends outside of things. I could be wrong. I know they have tried. I know he's definitely all over the place. He's out there. It's not like he's not trying to make moves. He was trying to be in Captain America. Like he's trying.
Yeah.
So that I think that would be a significant step down. I think it makes sense to have Punk wrestle for that World Heavyweight title. Punk should. It doesn't make sense that he's not wrestling for the Universal or World Heavyweight titles more. Like he should be firmly in that picture. But then I'm also just kind of like, now I'm getting, maybe I'll get Stockholm syndromed out of it, but like now I'm like, okay, I'm kind of sick of Rollins and Punk now.
Okay.
Like after this, I don't know. I don't know.
It was chaos. Chaos ensued. We have to also send our condolences to the family of Charles Robinson, the referee, who got leveled by John Cena.
Wait, no, Charles Robinson came out afterward, didn't he?
He ran out. He did his famous run out and got
right
leveled by Cena.
Right. Yes, that's right. Yes,
he's
that's
not
right.
dead. I was trying to make a really bad joke, but my God, did that 50? I think he's 58. They said at this point, Charles Robinson.
Amazing.
You know, and he's known for that famous meme of him running down to the ring, like 20 years ago, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
He did the same thing at this event, but the minute he got to the ring, Cena laid him out. What do they call that? Decleated him.
Decleated. Yeah.
And there was a funny image going around where the whole crowd was gone. They were cleaning up. They were taking down the ring, and Robinson was still laying on the ground. Loved it. So shout out to him, man, for being such a trooper and doing whatever that company needs him to do. But yeah, we should say that John Cena did end up winning this match.
It's true.
What am I missing? Am I missing anything with this main event?
No, I think that's it. I think that's mostly it. Yeah, John Cena wins. Seth Rollins did not challenge him, and now we'll see. I presume he's going to fight Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, and like, okay,
all right,
we'll see. It better be.
We're running it back.
I need there to be some stipulation or something. I need it to be a Hell in a Cell or a ladder match. Like, there's only so much Cena can do, though. Like, I don't think they're going to have him go crazy. I think it's very telling that he's mostly been in tag or like standard singles matches.
That's true, man. And that main event was almost 30 minutes long. So again, Cena, Punk, for their age, awesome.
Yep.
I give them all the
credit. No, they're still doing great. Great. The talk of them being older gentlemen, it's not like they can't still go. It was just clearly like, time waits for no one.
Exactly. Tell me about it. Oh man, what would you give the main event of Night of Champions, Andrew?
B+. Maybe even closer to a B, if I'm going to be honest. Because I expected more, as I have said on like social media, as I have said on this show. I expected more out of the Punk Cena match, the first one in 11 years. So even as it started, I was like, holy cow. Like, look, I cannot believe that these two are wrestling each other for the Universal title in 2025.
Surreal.
That's nuts. That's nuts. So I expected more out of it, I think.
Okay. That's totally
maybe
fair.
we'll get more. Maybe it'll be like a triple threat at SummerSlam. I don't know, something. But I don't
didn't think about that. Yeah.
I am not thrilled about going back to Cena and Rhodes. So I'm gonna actually back to a B. I'm just gonna lay it out at a nice solid B.
A B. Okay.
Mhm.
I will take your B and I will lower it to a B minus.
Heyo.
Yeah, I have no true justification for that. Just gonna do it to be controversial because that creates catch, baby.
It's true. It's true. It's true. And you're the only one who has ever said that. So that's
ever.
Mm-hmm,
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my man. Well, that was Night of Champions. Do you have an overall grade, or should we?
I would still give it an A. There was just some great wrestling there. Like there, and I think the fact that we got to see people like Raquel Rodriguez and Karrion Kross get a showcase, and again more solo. The Hikulea Leo stuff is exciting. Like there's, I just enjoyed it mostly overall, and I got to watch 3 of the matches with my boys, so that's always nice.
That's a memory you will always have. That's awesome, man.
After a very long day at a children's birthday party that involved a lot of transit, because
how did that go?
Network.
Well, how would you rate the birthday party?
The birthday party was a blast. It was a karaoke party mostly. I sang the night the lights went out in Georgia because I forgot that everybody was like mainly 10 or 11. So I had to kind of dial. Like I was like, I'm just gonna dig in my heels, and I'm gonna have to keep saying that's the night that they hung an innocent man over and over again. It was a good time. It was a good time. But getting there took like almost an hour, and getting back took an hour and a half. And the boys did a very good job. It's really hard to defend public transit when it doesn't work correctly.
You know what can help that? A new mayor, I think.
Hey, well, I'm in the wrong city for that.
That's true.
We are getting a new mayor this fall, but I don't. Oh God, the World Cup's going to be here next year. SummerSlam's going to be here in a month.
Yeah.
Yes, like we're not prepared. They can't get people to MetLife safely and securely. They can't do it.
Oh man, it's like when the Olympics were in Brazil or whatever it was. They just were not ready. They were not ready. Awesome, my man. Well, that was Night of Champions. A across the board. Awesome show. Can't wait to see what happens on SmackDown this week and moving forward. But you got anything coming up?
Nah, look, pay the tithe, chemistry test. I'm around. Check my work out at Pajiba. Listen to Somewhere in the Skies. Listen to Somewhere on the Screen. They're covering movies and stuff over there. They got Superman coming up.
Yep.
A movie that I'm very excited for. I already have tickets for 2 different nights. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for the new Superman movie to come out. And I should add, yes, go subscribe to Somewhere on the Screen, guys, our brand new podcast in the Somewhere universe. And they're killing it over there. I'm having a great time just listening. Being a fan of the show.
Very conversational, very much like friends sitting around talking about movies. Like it's a good time. It's a good time.
That's what podcasts are all about. So I'll put a link below to subscribe to Somewhere on the Screen. And you can find everything we do, guys, at Somewhere in the Ring. Check us out across all social media. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Please, we need those ratings and reviews. They can make a world of difference for us over there on that big platform and everything in between. So rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. Check out our Patreon for bonus content, early access to the show, and everything in between. And that's going to do it, buddy. Let's ring that bell and let's get out of here.
It's a coffee. It's my Yeti. That really hurt my finger, but I'm going to try again.
Nice. I got one too.
Nice. There we go. Yeah.
Ooh,
that hurts.
That hurt.